All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. And as of me recording this video, the Seahawks still have not made their big trade deadline move. They are still sitting idle. So I got nothing to talk about there. But what I do have is Snap Count Monday. You guys know how we do things. We take a look and see who was playing for the Seahawks last night. And there's actually going to be a lot of ground to cover because when you win a game like that, when you win in blowout fashion, like the Seahawks did, you play a lot of backups. And you get the opportunity to really test out the deepest parts of your bench. So we're going to have a little bit more to talk about than we usually do. And it's going to be pretty encouraging. It's going to be pretty good stuff. So, going to start with the offense here. Going to do the defense in the second half of this video. And hopefully by the time this video gets up, John Schneider will have done something. Back in 60 seconds. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So offensively, and this is kind of the part where you realize it's almost like the Seahawks offense is too good. They were so good last night. They barely ever had the ball. They scored so fast and they moved the ball down the field so fluidly that they only ran 51 plays, which is the fewest plays they ran all season. And again, it's just one of those things where like they were too good for their own good almost. When you're that effective offensively, you don't get to run that many plays because boom, 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 you score. We didn't have a lot of long drives. We had one or two, I think, but for the most part, it was just like rapid fire. You're in the end zone, and you're giving the ball back to the other team. Now, of those 51 snaps, Walker played more than any other running back, 29. Charbonnet got 18, and then Halani got the 3 at the very end of the game. So kind of what you would expect, I think, in a game like this. You're playing from the lead the whole time. Obviously, you still pass the ball a pretty decent amount, but in a game where you're playing from ahead constantly, I think Walker's going to be a little more liberated to be out there. Makes sense. Robbie Oots, first game back, 13 snaps. I actually thought he was going to play a lot because we were so thin at receiver, but not really. And it makes sense you would want to ease him back in. There's nothing wrong with it, but I thought this might be the game where Robbie Oots played like half the game by necessity, but we found another way. All right, so that's the running back stuff. Wide receivers, despite his remarkable production, JSN actually was third on this team in wide receiver snaps. Torrey Horton had 37, Cody White had 36, JSN had 34. Now, the main reason why that happened is because JSN sat out our last drive. Like, he sat out our last 3 plays, which would have obviously put him in a tie with Horton, but still, that's the other thing about this that's crazy. JSN is not out there every play. He's played 75% of the snaps for the Seahawks this season. And in this game, 34 snaps. I mean, technically, he played fewer against the Saints, but 34 snaps is nothing. And for him to still put up 130 yards and 8 catches, that's the crazy thing. There might be other receivers that can have production like that. They're usually the guys that are going to be out there for 50-plus snaps a game. Torrey Horton, 37 snaps, like I said. I mean, it's It's a career high, which makes sense, and he did well. He did his thing. Cody White, 36 snaps, so we actually called on him a lot more than I would have thought. And he made a big play. It was just one, but I mean, it's not like we needed more. Ricky White got out there a little bit, 7 snaps, never got the ball thrown his way, but did get his first ever NFL offensive experience. And I'll tell you, the Seahawks did not lean too heavily on their tight ends. Now, maybe part of that is because Saubert was hurt as well, and he's going to be out for a little while, but A.J. Barner, 43 snaps. That's pretty much normal for him to play about 80% of the snaps. Maybe, he missed 8 snaps in this game, so it's a tiny bit more than usual, but not really. Arroyo, 22 snaps, not even half the game. So that's pretty normal for him. And Hollerup played 11 snaps, and Brady Russell played 1 snap. I thought this was going to be the game where you were living in 2 tight end and 3 tight end sets, basically 100% of the time. Didn't happen. And I think it was kind of a tendency beater. I think everybody went into that game assuming you were going to be running back heavy, tight end heavy, wide receiver light. And they wanted to show a different look. And, I mean, it couldn't have worked better, right? You can't do better than 31 points in the first half, really. Hard to beat that. Offensive line, pretty normal stuff here. Cross, Zabel, and Sundell played every snap except for 3. Bradford and Lucas played every snap. I don't know why Lucas... I guess we just didn't have another right tackle on the team. So we just left Lucas out there for 3 extra plays. Bradford, I kind of understand why, because he's the guy that you're worried about and you want to give him more reps. You don't want to treat him like he's, just an entrenched starter that is doing no wrong. So I understand giving him 100% of the snaps. But we had Cable Do, Oluwatimi, and Jones play 3 snaps each to replace Cross, Zabel, and Sundell for the final drive of the game. And Josh Jones also got 1 extra snap when we went jumbo at the goal line. So no injuries here, no rotation here, just you back up the trucks at the end of the game. And that's the offense. I mean, it's pretty nice, pretty smooth, not much to say. Not totally what I expected, but at the same time, I certainly didn't expect them to be that ridiculously effective. I mean, who could have? All right, jumping over now to the defense. 65 plays against. Again, that's what happens when your offense keeps scoring that quickly. The other team does get their plays in because they're constantly getting the ball back. But I mean, again, the defense was good. About the worst you can say is they gave up some rushing yards, but a lot of it was in garbage time. So whatever. 65 plays. That's still actually below their season average, I believe. That's still actually a decent number for them. The important point is we were able to really avoid overloading anybody. If you take a look at this, like, Leonard Williams played 35 snaps. That's by far a season low. So Leonard Williams basically got a good chunk of the second half off. Murphy got 43 snaps. That's in line with his typical, more or less. He's a younger guy. It makes more sense. You can put more on his shoulders. But, like, look at this. Jaron Reed, 17 snaps. And I know he might have been a little injured, but he barely played. Mike Morris and Brandon Peely both played more snaps than Jaron Reed. I think that's really interesting. Now, maybe it's just because Reed was playing through an injury, but I think part of it was also you were liberated to do it because this game was such a blowout. So I like that. I think Jaron Reed needs the occasional game like this. Linebacker Ernest Jones was playing the whole game until he got hurt, so 28 snaps there. Tyrese Knight comes in for him, 37. So that, yeah, those two numbers up, you get to 65, makes sense. Drake Thomas plays most of the game, 52 snaps. And we saw, for the first time this year, a little bit of Chaz Surratt. So that's cool, good for him. He gets a little bit of defensive work. And hopefully Ernest Jones is okay. Hopefully we find out good news about him in the coming couple days. But what you would expect from the linebacker core, except Tyrese Knight had to get in. Edge rusher, look at this one, man. Look at this. 30 snaps Nwosu, 27 to Mafe, 27 to Derek Hall, 27 to DeMarcus Lawrence. Basically perfect balance, man. And this is, obviously, this is a little bit of an aberration because you were ahead by so much. You got to play a lot of Mike Morris. You got to play a lot of Connor O'Toole, who got 17 snaps. Normally, you're not going to be able to do that. Like, in most games you play, you're not going to be able to get away with only playing your edge players 30 snaps or less. But it is kind of a microcosm of what they're going to be able to do now that all four guys are healthy, which is something other than maybe the Saints game, and I would argue even the Saints game, Nwosu was not completely himself yet, you have not had. You can keep things almost exactly even with these four guys, and you're not going to lose that much. It's not like any one of these guys is drastically worse than any of the others. So there's some really fun potential here. And if the Seahawks don't make a swing at a big-time edge, like an elite edge player, then this is part of the reason why they can feel justified in doing so, because this is working so well. Cornerback's a little bit muddy. Woolen ended up playing the most snaps with 55, and he didn't even start the game. Witherspoon only played 47 snaps. Obviously, part of that was because the game was out of hand at the end, but I think we were also pulling him in and out a little bit throughout the game. I'm not 100% sure. Josh Jobe played the 15 snaps before he got the concussion. Don't know what's going on there yet either. And Nehemiah Pritchett got in garbage time, 19 snaps. So that was pretty good. He got a little bit of burn there. I know a lot of people are kind of done with Pritchett, but he's still on the team, so we got to try to get something out of him while he's here. And safety, Ty Okada was the only defender that played the whole game at 65 snaps. Kobe Bryant played the whole game until garbage time, 58. Eamon Warry, 57. So he's actually one of our top snap getters. And again, I know he's not really playing safety right now, but regardless, it's really fun to watch him. I know that there are mistakes out there. He's a 21-year-old rookie, but there's so much fun stuff with Eamon Warry right now. I'm really, really excited about his future in this league. And then D'Anthony Bell and Jarek Reed, 7 snaps each. So they got in garbage time, and they mopped up. All right. Nothing else really to say. Those are your defensive snap counts for the Seahawks. Pretty good. Honestly, on this side of the ball, I'd say it's really good. Nobody was overworked. Nobody got pushed too hard. Everybody just kind of got to freely rotate in and out. And I feel like they're probably feeling good after this one. Like, look at the guys who did play a lot. Like Byron Murphy, I guess, played 43 snaps. That's a pretty good amount for him, but it's not excessive, and he's young anyway. He's the guy who can do it. And, yeah, they were able to really empty out the benches here, and that's great. The only guy who didn't really get subbed out at the end was Okada because he's already the backup as is. Okay, so that'll do it for Snap Count Monday. See you guys soon. More videos coming. Go Hawks. Good day. Good things happening. And, yep, still waiting on any word concerning a trade.